All right. So go ahead and find your comfortable seat. As always, if your hips are feeling tight, please feel free to grab a pillow, even if you have to get up to do so, a block, maybe a bolster, something that can prop your hips up, allow the pelvis to tilt a little bit, maybe take some of the pressure off the low back. And then take a moment here, maybe to find some shoulder rolls, maybe to reach and extend through the fingers, just kind of arriving on your mat, any movement that feels good. Maybe nodding the head a little, yes and no. Anything that helps you arrive on your mat. And then when you feel ready, you feel like you've stretched out a little bit of the stiffness, go ahead and find a place of stillness. And sit up nice and tall here. And if it's comfortable for you, allow the eyes to close or just to soften. If you're just softening the gaze, you're not closing the eyes, maybe lightly focus on one point that doesn't move a few feet out in front of you on the floor. Beginning to arrive in this space, in your body. Just noticing how you're feeling today, mentally, physically, emotionally. And just take a moment to acknowledge what it took to get here this morning. Maybe it was easy. Maybe you just woke up and were excited about yoga. Maybe it was more challenging. Maybe there were other things that were trying to vie for your attention. Maybe you just weren't feeling in the mood. Acknowledge that. And also acknowledge that you arrived, that you made it, that you showed up for yourself. And then take a moment to set aside anything else that's on your plate right now, anything else that is still calling for your attention mentally, physically, emotionally. Knowing that if it's important, you can pick it up again after the class. Beginning to draw your attention to your breath, to the gentle rise and fall. And beginning to softly deepen the breath. Maybe taking one or both hands and placing them about an inch below the belly button. And seeing if you can feel that rise and fall underneath the hands as you start to lengthen each breath, smoothing it out, deepening it. Imagining today that the rise and fall of the breath is like the ebb and flow of ocean waves. And feeling the breath spread through the body. And just like water, finding any places in the body that are feeling a little tight, a little blocked. See if you can begin to soften them, to allow the breath to come first, to release anything else. We're going to do a new moon practice today, and the new moon focuses a lot on setting new intentions, finding new ways to begin. So cultivating anything new that you want to see in your life, creating new ideas, new energy. So just something to consider during your practice today, seeing if you can find something new in each pose. Maybe taking a moment to set an intention or a dedication for your practice if that feels right. Staying with the rise and fall of the breath, these ocean waves. And take one more deep, full belly breath here. And then slowly begin to find some movement again in the fingers and the toes. Maybe rotating the wrists. Maybe nodding the head gently. And then when you're ready, allow the eyes to open, and let's take the fingertips to our shoulders. And then allow the elbows to drop down. So tag a lot of weight into the elbows. So you're not pulling with the fingers, you're just feeling like you have little cartoon weights attached to each elbow. Feeling the top of the head gently lift. And then let's draw the elbows, point them straight forward. See if you can draw them towards each other. They don't have to touch, but get them as close as possible. Feel that opening in the back body. And then open the elbows once more, point them straight up towards the ceiling. Notice if you're really sticking the chest out, see if you can kind of rein that back and feel that opening more in the side body. And then open the elbows as wide as they can go, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then drop the elbows back and down. Tag some more weight into them. We're gonna move through that a little bit faster. So inhale, elbows come together and up. Exhale, open and squeeze them down. 2 more times. Inhale together and lift. Exhale, open and squeeze. Last one. Inhale together and up. Exhale, open and squeeze. Release the hands, shake out the arms. All right. So let's take the left hand either onto your lap or by your side. And we're going to start to do some figure eights with that right hand. So drawing some figure eights with the wrist, nice and slow. And as you do this, you're going to start to move this arm upwards. And again, moving nice and slow, really articulating through the wrist. And eventually the fingers will point straight up towards the ceiling. Take a couple more rolls of the wrist. And then inhale, really reach through that right side body. And exhale, find a side bend to the left. So slide that left hand out. The right hip is anchoring you down nice and heavy. Give it one more breath here. See if you can open your chest a little bit towards the ceiling. And then slowly come back up. Let's take our feet as wide as our yoga mat. If you're sitting on something here, you may want to remove it for windshield wipers. Might be a little easier. It's up to you. So take your feet wide and do a few windshield wipers with the knees. And then the next time the knees are over to the right, let's keep them there. Find some energy in the feet, so a little bit of flex. We're going to come into our twist. So left hand to the right near thigh. Sit up nice and tall. Make sure you're not leaning backwards here. And then shift the weight, really small movement, subtly, back into that left hip. So imagine you're trying to sit into both hips evenly. That's not going to happen. That's okay. Give it one more breath here. And then slowly come back to center. Do a couple more windshield wipers. And we'll do that sequence on the other side. So come into your comfortable seat once more. If you were sitting cross-legged before, maybe opposite cross of the legs. And this time our right hand will come out to our side and the left hand is going to start to take those figure eights. So moving nice and slow. A little bit of a warm up for the wrist as well. Starting to move that left arm up. And eventually your fingers will point up at the ceiling. Take a couple more rolls of the wrist here. And then inhale, feel that left side body lengthen as then find your side bend. So left hip is really anchoring you down. It's nice and heavy. Take one more breath here. Maybe rotate the chest a little bit open towards the ceiling. And then slowly come back up. Let's take our feet wide one more time. And do a couple more windshield wipers. And this time, the next time the knees are over to the left, let's keep them there. Little energy in the feet. Sit up nice and tall as you come into your twist. And then again, make sure you're not pressing too much, leaning too far back into that into the left hand, I'm sorry. Just shifting the weight a really small amount, sitting back into that right hip. One side may be tighter than others. You may notice that you can't sit back as far, that's fine. Just breathing wherever you are. Give it one more breath. And then slowly release. Come back to center. Let's do those windshield wipers one more time. And then come back to your comfortable seat. We're going to do cat-cow seated today. So go ahead and wrap the hands around the front of the knees. Let's scoot back a little bit. So you're kind of using this as a little bit of leverage here. So keeping the hands wrapped around the front of the legs or around the sides of the knees can kind of help you isolate the movement into the chest and back. So we're going to circle around, bringing the heart forward as you inhale, and on the exhale, rounding back, tucking the chin into the chest. And inhale, coming forward, think cow. And then on your exhale, rounding back, think cat. So moving with that rhythm of your own breath here. See if you can slow it down a little bit today. Really enjoying this feeling of opening in both the front and the back body. And whenever you feel satisfied in this direction, go ahead and switch, reversing the direction, circling the opposite way. Do one more round. And then slowly come back through center, stack through the spine. And let's take the bottoms of the feet together knees wide. So we're coming into our cobbler, and then go ahead and slide the feet away from you. I'm actually going to turn to the side so you can see how far away from me my feet are going to be. So a lot of space today. So your feet are normally kind of close to you when you do butterfly or cobbler. So today you want it to be a big diamond. And then take the hands wherever they're comfortable. We're going to sit up nice and tall. Inhale here. And on your exhale, just start to round through the back. You're bringing the chest forward. You can reach the hands towards the feet, towards the mat. If you want to feel more supported here, you can also use a block in between the legs and kind of rest the hands or the forearms on it. You can even turn it up on its highest setting and rest the forehead. So we're going to stay here for a few breaths. So something that's going to make you feel supported, opening in the back body, seeing if you can feel the breath moving there. Notice if you're clenching in the jaw or the forehead. See if you can soften. Notice if you're clenching in the neck. Maybe give the head a little gentle turn side to side. Taking 2 more deep, full breaths here, really feeling the back body expand on the inhale and gently soften on the exhale. And then hug your belly button towards the spine. Nice and slow, start to walk yourself up. We want to move slow when we hold these poses for a little longer. All right, move any props you were using aside. We're going to come down onto our belly. So take your time getting there. And we're coming into Sphinx pose. So on your belly, you're going to set up with your elbows directly underneath your shoulders. And your hands and arms, forearms are parallel to each other. So they're at about shoulder distance apart as well. So notice if your hands are kind of coming in or going further out. And then press your pubic bone, your pelvis down into the mat. And then press into your elbows to sort of help to lift the chest. So your gaze can be forward here in Sphinx, but you don't want to crunch the back of the neck. So make sure you're kind of looking down at the floor still. And really pressing into the elbows, making sure that the shoulders are not falling down, your chest and belly are not falling down to the mat. You're really feeling this lift up and out. Breathing here. Checking in with those shoulders one more time. Notice if you started to collapse here. Use the strength in the elbows and the arms to press away from the mat. And then slowly release down, stack the palms, release the forehead to the hands. Maybe bend the knees if that feels good. And take some windshield wipers with the feet, so just gently dropping them side to side. Maybe rocking the forehead a little on your hands. And then we're going to do a pose that we haven't done in this class before. So release the feet. We're going to set it up slowly. So maybe coming back into Sphinx will be easier because you're going to move in the legs. So we're going to bend that right knee. and take it up as close to 90 degrees as you can. So it's that right knee is out to the side, the knee is bent, your left leg is still extended long. And then you're going to stack your hands again, just like we did, and release your left ear onto your hands. And just sink into this pose. If this is not comfortable on your ear, to have your ear on your hands, you can have your forehead on your hands like we did before. So you're not trying to hold anything here. You're just trying to soften, to open the hip gently. Breathing into the back body, into the right side body. Feeling any places that you're holding, that you're clenching the muscles that maybe you don't need to be right now. Seeing if you can soften those places. Softening the feet, softening the shoulders and neck, and letting your heart center melt down towards your mat. Give it one more breath wherever you are. And then slowly turn your forehead back to your hands. If you had the ear there, slowly press your top body up to Sphinx one more time and slide that right leg back out straight. So we're going to stay here in Sphinx for another few breaths, just resetting the spine, pressing the pelvis down into the mat, the hips, pressing away. And you can stay here in Sphinx if you want, or we'll take an option for seal. So in seal, all you're doing is just walking the hands out a little bit to the top corners of the mat, or maybe a little bit further. And if you'd like, you can press into the hands and lift the elbows, maybe just an inch or two off the mat. So it's a slightly deeper back bend. If this is too much for you, stay in Sphinx. Breathing here. Inviting that heart center to shine forward. One more breath wherever you are. And then slowly release the elbows if they were lifted. We're going to come back into that pose on the other side. So this time your left knee is going to bend 90 degrees. You won't see my knee as it's the one that's furthest away from you. And then you're going to stack the palms again and release the right ear down onto your hands. And again, if this is uncomfortable, go ahead and release just the forehead to the hands. Again, allowing anywhere to soften that needs to release, anything you're holding on to in the face. Seeing if you can breathe into that hip. Releasing the weight of the head into your hands. Give it one more deep, deep breath here. And then slowly start to lift the head. Bring the arms back to Sphinx and stretch that left leg out long. And then bring the palms underneath the shoulders. We're going to use them to press back and up to table. And go ahead and find a child's pose or a puppy posture or any comfortable resting pose. We want to stretch the back a little bit. If your shoulders are feeling tight today, maybe bend the elbows more, walk them out to the edges of your mat. Maybe rock your forehead a little side to side on your mat or on a block. We're just taking it nice and slow today. The new moon is also about introspection, about noticing how you're feeling, what's going on with you emotionally, what's going on in your life, what's no longer serving you, what can you release to create space for new things to come in. Take one more breath. And then slowly walk the hands back. Go ahead and grab your blocks. And we're going to set them up at the top of our mat. If you usually like to pad the knees for lunges, maybe grabbing a towel to put across the mat or grabbing your pads would be a good idea as well, because we're going to go into our lunge. So go ahead and step the right foot forward and then take a moment to find your pose here. So make sure your feet are wide enough apart that you feel like you have space for your hips. I like to kind of come up and put my thumb in the crease where my leg meets my hip and kind of pull that back. That kind of allows me to get my pelvis in the right position here. And then bring your hands to the blocks. If you needed to pad that left knee, please do so. And go ahead and drop into your lunge a little bit. Make sure that your heart is pointing forward as much as it can be. And you're getting a little bit of a stretch in the front of that left hip. Shoulders are drawing away from the ears. Make sure that right knee and right ankle are in one line. If not, scoot the foot a little bit forward. Breathing here. Give it one more breath. And then slowly start to straighten only as much as you'd like through that right leg, that front leg. We're sending our hips back. You may need to adjust where your blocks are placed here. And go ahead and start with the foot flat on the mat. So we're not going to lift the toes yet. Releasing the head, finding a little bit of a fold here. Remembering to keep that knee bent as much as you need, especially if you have tight hamstrings here. Please bend the knee more. And then maybe staying here with the foot, or maybe lifting the toes up towards the ceiling. Give it one more breath. And then slowly release that right foot back to the mat if it was lifted. Start to bend that right knee, coming back into your low lunge. We're going to keep our left hand on our block. And on your inhale, send the right fingertips up. So gentle twist. One more breath here. And release that right hand. So go ahead and scoot one of your blocks aside. We're going to move into a lizard variation. So maybe lower the block to its lowest setting so you can put both hands on it. Maybe both hands are just on the mat. We're going to scoot that right foot as far out to the right as is comfortable for you. So to the edge of the mat, maybe a little further. Your right hand is going to be inside the right foot. So both hands are now inside that foot. And you're starting to drop the hips down a little bit more. Let me scoot back a little bit. Make any adjustments you need to.
So some yoga teachers really want your feet to still be parallel to the mat. I don't mind if your toes go off a little bit, as long as the knee is also pointing out a little bit. They should stay kind of in line. So maybe staying here, breathing into that hip. This is a much deeper hip stretch. Or if you'd like, you can take the block on any height and maybe releasing the forearms to the block if you want a deeper stretch. Block can also be down lower, or you can release the forearms to the floor. It depends entirely on how flexible you're feeling in your hip right now. Find a gentle tuck of the chin. And breathing wherever you are. My hips are a little bit tight today, so I'm actually just going to stay upright. Taking some deep, deep, full breaths. And give it one more breath here. And then when you're ready, start to press yourself back up if you were leaning down on your forearms. Start to walk your right foot back in. You can move the block aside. We're still going to need it in a moment. And step back into your table. Take your knees together, big toes together. Drop your hips to the right, look over your left shoulder. Drop the hips left, look over the right shoulder. And come back to center. All right, go ahead and set your blocks up one more time for that lunge. We're going to take it on the left side. So pad that right knee if you need to. And when you're ready, step the left foot forward. And then go through your checklist here. You do not have to come right into the pose and hold it. Make sure that your legs feel like they're in the correct position first. Maybe draw that left hip crease back. Then find your blocks. Then sink into your lunge. Finding that lift in the chest. Gently pulling the shoulders away from the ears. Two more breaths here. And then slowly start to straighten through that left leg as you start to send the hips back. We're coming into our half splits. So keep as much of a bend in the left knee as you need. Maybe change the positioning of the block if you need to. And find a little tuck of the chin, a fold over that leg. Keeping the sole of the foot on the mat at first. And then maybe after a couple of breaths, if you like, you can flex that left foot, pointing the toes straight up towards the knee, and the knee a little more. Here. And then slowly rebend that left knee, coming back into your low lunge. Right hand's going to stay on the block. And inhale, left fingertips reach. Find your gentle twist. And then slowly release. We're going to come into that lizard again. So if you think you're going to need both blocks, you're absolutely welcome to use them. I generally only use one. But you're going to start to walk that left foot out to the left side of your mat. And I find it more comfortable. It gives me much more space in the hip if I let my toes spill off the mat. And then maybe just staying up on your hands here. Trying to drop the hips down a little. Breathing here. Or maybe you're feeling a little bit more flexible on this side. Maybe you'd like to drop your forearms to a block, or you can drop them all the way down to the mat, depending on how your hips are feeling this morning. Breathing wherever you are, finding a gentle tuck of the chin. Give it one more deep, deep breath. And then slowly start to press yourself back up. If you were down on a block, start to walk your left foot back. Your left hand can reach outside of that foot again and bring that knee back to table. Take your knees together, big toes together. Drop the hips to the left, look over your right shoulder. And come back to center. Other way, hips right, look over the left shoulder. And back to center. Let's curl the toes under. Lift the hips up and back. Find your downward dog. Maybe pedal your feet. Taking your dog for a little walk. Noticing if you're feeling a little warmer in the hamstrings and the hips than you normally would in down dog. And then looking up at your hands, take a slow walk or step up to meet them. And just find your forward fold. Maybe take your feet a little bit wider today. Bend the knees generously. Let your head, your neck, your shoulders just hang here. Maybe clasp opposite elbows. Maybe find a little sway. And then bend the knees extra generously. Press through the feet, belly button hugs in. Start to roll up nice and slow. Eventually the chin will lift. Make any adjustments that you need to here. Shake it out. All right, you can clear any props off your mat. We're gonna just do a little bit of standing work and then we'll come back down. So come into your mountain. And let's inhale, reach the arms up, interlace the fingers, press your palms up towards the ceiling. Inhale here. Exhale, side bend to the left, press the hips to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, side bend to the right, hips press to the left. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, release the hands, take them to the back of the hips as if you're tucking them into your back pocket. And then press the hips, press the chest forward, and find a little bit of a lift in the chin and the chest. Hug the elbows together. And then on your exhale, bend the knees, send the hips back, release the arms down, find your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, soften and fold. Bring the hands to the tops of the thighs. Inhale, press through the hands and feet to come all the way back up. Let's do that a couple more times. Hands come to the back of the hips. Inhale, lift the chest, press the hips forward, elbows squeeze together. And exhale, bend the knees, find your fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, hands come to the tops of the thighs, make your way back up. Exhale into your mountain. One more time. Hands to the backs of the hips, press the hips forward, elbows squeeze together as you open the heart. And exhale, bend the knees as you fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, hands to the thighs. Press your way back up. All right. Is everybody feeling warm? All right, good. Let's do tree pose. Work on a little bit of balance and then we'll take it back down. So spread the toes on the left foot, create a stable platform for yourself. And then take just the heel of that right foot to the left leg. So that right knee is opening out to the side. And start right here. Imagine you're zipping up from the feet all the way to the top of the head. So everything's hugging into the center line. You're pressing that heel and that left leg back against each other. Maybe just staying here. This is still challenging your balance. See if you can drop your tailbone. Make sure that left hip's not sticking out. Before you move anywhere, find one place to rest the gaze. It's easier if you rest it down on the floor in front of you, but you can also look straight ahead. And then if you'd like, maybe lift the bottom of that right foot to the ankle or to the calf. You can also lift it above the knee. That's not super knee friendly for me, so I'm not going to demonstrate it, but basically you tuck the heel up above the knee. So I can, if I hold a wall, demonstrate it. It's kind of like that. So you just don't want to be right on the knee. And hands can stay on the hips. They can come together at the heart. Again, squeezing everything to the center line. Or you can lift your arms up. Breathing wherever you are. Remembering that if you fall out of it, that's totally normal. Balance is very challenging. Helps us not take ourselves so seriously. Just gently come back in. Give it one more breath. And then slowly release. Shake out that left leg. And we'll do the other side. So right toes spread. Press into that right foot. Left heel comes against that right leg. Left knee is opening out to the left. And again, everything hugs in. So your belly hugs in. Tailbone is dropping down. Your glutes are engaged. Your legs are pressing against each other. Maybe stay here. Finding one point to rest the gaze, something that doesn't move preferably. And if you'd like to go a little further by bringing the bottom of that left foot to the ankle or the calf or higher, you can. Hands can stay on the hips. They can come together at the heart, or they can lift up. Ooh, I lost my balance that time. That's what happens when you move your eyes around as you're trying to balance. Makes it a lot more challenging. So breathing wherever you are. Remembering that balance is different every day. Can be different on both sides of the body. Take one more breath. And slowly release. Shake out that right leg. All right. So let's inhale, reach the arms up, interlace the fingers one more time, press the palms overhead. Inhale here. Exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale, back up to center. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, back to center. Release the hands, either swan dive or just fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, soften and fold. Plant the hands, step to downward dog. And then lower the knees. And let's come into a seat. So take a moment here, maybe grab your block
You might want it for our fold. And let's take the legs wide. So legs are wide, feet are flexed. And then let's just slide the left hand down that left leg or in front or behind, whatever's more comfortable. And inhale, reach the right arm up. And slowly release. Other side, slide that hand down the leg. Inhale, left arm reaches. Feet are still flexed. And slowly come back up to center. Grab your block if you think you'll want it. It can be close to your body, and as you fold, you can rest the forearms on it, or it can be far away from your body to kind of help keep you lifted. So inhale, hands on the mat, lift the head and chest. Exhale, start to fold, walk yourself forward, finding that place of first resistance and stopping there. Maybe using the block. I like to use it on its highest setting to rest my forearms when it's close to my body like this. Feet are still flexed, legs are still active. And gaze should be straight down at the floor. Breathing here. Maybe after a couple of breaths, you find that you can walk yourself a little bit further. Maybe then you take the block out in front and hold on to it with your hands. Maybe not. Finding a gentle tuck of the chin, finding some length in the back of the neck. Give it one more breath here. And then release the hands if you were holding the block. Slowly start to walk yourself back up. And you can move the block aside. Bend the knees. Take the bottoms of the feet together. This time you want the feet a little bit closer to you. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. And exhale, find your fold. Allow the neck and shoulders to round, tucking the chin. You can use the arms here, the elbows to gently press the knees apart, or the arms can come in front. Give it one more breath into the back body. And then belly button hugs in towards the spine. Slowly walk yourself back up. And we're going to grab a couple of props here. What time is it? Yeah, I'm okay. So grab a block if you have it, and a bolster or a pillow if you have it. If you don't have a bolster, you can also do this. This is supported fish pose, and you can do it with just a block. So let me demonstrate that first. I like the bolster. It gives me a little more cushioning, so it's a little easier on my back. If you're doing this on a block, you essentially want the block to sit right below your shoulder blades. So kind of where a bra strap would be on a woman. So, or anyone who wears bra. So you're just going to release over the block. I'm sorry, you might want another block under your head. I didn't grab that. You can tell I don't do fish very often. Generally, I like the support of the bolster. So the other block can be on any setting behind the head. It can be flat if you want a little bit more of a chest opener. And then the arms are just by the sides. Knees can be bent or legs can be extended. So that's option one. These are restorative poses, so we're going to hold them a little bit longer. So take your time getting into them. If you want to use the bolster, you use one block or you can stack two, depending on how high up you want to be. Grabbing the bolster, resting it on an angle over the blocks. And then scooting your hips right up against the bolster or the pillow. You can use a pillow here too, maybe a thick blanket.
And once your hips are right, your low back is right up against the bolster, then releasing back over it. Knees can stay bent, pointing straight up, or you can take butterfly with the feet. So soles of the feet together, knees wide. So finding your version of supported fish to get the full opening in the chest and shoulders, allowing the arms to come out by the sides, palms face up. Finding a tiny lift of the chin. Breathing into the chest and belly. You can allow the eyes to close here. Just really allowing your body to melt into the support of the bolster or the block or the pillow. Breathing, feeling the belly rise and fall, returning to that ocean breath. Taking 3 more deep, full belly breaths here. And if you're feeling really comfortable here, really relaxed, I'm going to invite you to stay here, to just transition directly into Shavasana. We only have one more pose, one more twist on our backs to do first. So I'll cue that, we'll move into it. But if you'd rather just stay here, you're welcome to. So if your knees are out in butterfly here, go ahead and use the hands to close them, rolling off of your bolster or block onto one side first, and then pressing up so you can remove the bolster and block. Maybe keeping them nearby. If you felt really supported there and want to return there for Shavasana, you can. Go ahead and move everything off your mat for the moment, and then come down onto your back. And when you arrive on your back, take your feet as wide as your yoga mat and do some windshield wipers with the knees. And then bringing the knees back to point straight up, go ahead and cross the right knee over the left knee. So as if you're sitting in a chair waiting, just crossing one knee over the other. And then press into that left foot and shift the hips a little bit to the right side of your mat. And then when you're ready, drop the knees over to the left. Arms can open wide at your sides, or they can come into cactus arms. Maybe turning the chin to look to the right if that feels comfortable on the neck. If this is an uncomfortable twist for you, you can find any other supine twist that feels better. Breathing into the front of that right hip. Give it one more breath. Bring the head back to center if it was turned. Use your core to slowly bring the knees back to center as well. Shift your hips back. Go ahead and uncross the legs. And we're going to do the other side. So cross the left knee over the right. When we do reclined pigeon, we cross just the ankle over. So go a little further than that. Cross the knee over today as well. And then press into that right foot. Shift the hips a little bit to the left. And when you're ready, drop the knees over to the right. Arms can open by the sides. And again, remember, if this twist does not feel good for you,
Find any other version. Maybe just take the knees together before dropping them over. Breathing into the front of that left hip. Give it one more breath. And then slowly start to bring the knees back to center with the core helping you. Scoot the hips back to center. Uncross the knees. Maybe take windshield wipers one more time. And then begin to set up for your Shavasana, maybe moving back into your supported fish pose if that felt good. You can also take a bolster just under the knees. You can also take reclined butterfly with the soles of the feet together, knees wide. So finding any comfortable resting pose to end your practice today. As we're transitioning here, as we're running into the end of the practice, I'm going to attach a new moon meditation to the end of this practice, but if you need to leave for any reason after your Shavasana, please do. Please just go ahead and, can't leave the Zoom meeting. I will record the meditation separately as well, so you can always listen to it that way. So finding your comfortable Shavasana, allowing the eyes to soften or close. Allowing the weight of the body to release into the mat. And let's all take a deep, full breath in through the nose. And exhale, sigh it out. Deep, deep, full breath in through the nose. And let it go. One more time. Deep, full breath in. Long letting go, sigh out. And beginning to allow that ocean wave breath, that rise and fall to begin to slow, to begin to soften back into your natural rhythm. Using this time, this quiet time, to absorb your practice, to begin to release anything you're holding on to that's no longer serving you. Remembering that this time is just for you. You have nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. And enjoying your rest. Start to become aware of your breath. Gently extending your inhales and your exhales. Begin sending each inhale deep into your belly. Begin to consider what the new moon represents. A chance for introspection, for renewal, a time of new beginnings and new intentions. But before we can bring in the new, we must clear out the old. We cannot see the light of the new moon, so we will create it in our own minds, our own moon centered in our own bodies. So begin to visualize soft white light, representing the new moon, surrounding and filling your body. Imagine that this white light is gently clearing away anything in your life that is no longer serving you. Anything you are ready to release, to create space for new intentions to grow. And now, keeping your own moon's light within you, begin to imagine that you are sitting outside on top of a hill or in a clearing where you can see a full view of the night sky. As you look up at the night sky, you notice millions of twinkling stars, more stars than you have ever seen before, illuminating the sky, shining brightly. As you continue to look up, you notice a shooting star streaking across the sky. And you take a moment to wish upon this star, to wish for your heart's desire, and to place your strongest intention for this new cycle, for this new beginning. Ask for what you desire. Intend what you wish to be so. And as you place this intention, another shooting star flies across the night sky. You make another new wish, place another new intention. As you continue to watch, even more shooting stars begin to stream across the sky, a meteor shower twinkling and dancing above you. As you make each new wish and set each new intention in the light of these shooting stars, consider this. What new energy do you want to manifest in your life? What new intentions do you want to send out into the world? As you reflect on these thoughts, repeat the following words in your mind as you breathe. With each inhale, say softly to yourself, I am. And with each exhale, capable. Repeat these words with 3 more cycles of your breath. Inhaling, I am. Exhaling, capable. And let these words, this new moon energy of renewal and intention, wash over you. And know that you are capable of bringing these wishes and intentions to life. You are capable of creating space for new possibilities to grow. Now bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. Feel your breath moving, sealing in these intentions for your highest good and allowing them to manifest in the weeks to come. When you're ready, begin to find small, gentle movements once more in the body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Turn your head from side to side. And consider that even these small movements carry the energy of new possibilities. As you move into the rest of your day, what you do with this energy is up to you. When you're ready, press yourself up to a comfortable seat. And allow the eyes to soften or close one more time. And if it's comfortable, bring your hands together at your heart. sealing in any new energy that you created in your practice, any new intentions or wishes that you had. It is my great wish that we will continue to move forward together, that we will continue to grow our practice as a community. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording now.